Huge game tonight for the University of Montana football team. They are on the road in the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs, playing at James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And that's exactly where our Kyle Hansen is at right now. Kyle, appreciate you being with us today. And who's your friend right behind you there anyway?
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, right here in Harrisonburg, Virginia, first time in this part of the country. And this is the Duke Dog statue. So he's hanging out with me. He's been hanging out with me a couple of times while I've been out here and kind of learning my way around the campus because, I've never been to this part of the country before, so he's been awfully helpful in that regard.
All right, very good. All right, so both of these teams are coming off impressive victories in the second round of the FCS playoff. Tell us a little bit about what they've experienced last week.
Sure. Well, obviously, the Montana Grizzlies are coming off that very emotional, very fun victory over Eastern Washington, 57-41 in Missoula. Crazy atmosphere last Friday night, and having a Friday night playoff game was huge for the Grizzlies, and you could really feel it in the atmosphere. And obviously playing a team like Eastern where there's a lot of history between the two conference foes. And, so big win for Montana to kind of beat Eastern Washington, one of the teams that I think is still one of the tops in the FCS, but didn't get a seed, so they ended up playing early. And then on the flip side, you have James Madison, who put up a shootout, or not really a shootout, but put up a blowout against Southeastern Louisiana, 59-20. Southeastern Louisiana has one of the best offenses in the country, and James Madison effectively shut them down really well while also turning in a great offensive performance themselves. So both teams coming off of big wins. Like I said, Montana's was probably a little bit more emotional knowing it was against a team like Eastern.
All right, so how do these two teams shape up against each other? We got the great defense for the Grizz. How's it looking against James Madison?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it seems like defense is also kind of the bread and butter of James Madison. They've been one of the better defenses in the FCS as well. Their front seven's very strong. That was a point that Bobby Houck really highlighted. They're very big on defense, and that just seems like something that James Madison's also had kind of a reputation for, just being a strong defensive team. But on the offensive side, you have Cole Johnson at quarterback, who, he finished fourth in Walter Payton voting for Offensive Player of the Year in FCS. He's having a great year. I believe he has 42 touchdown passes this year. Obviously engineered a great game against Southeastern Louisiana right now. And James Madison's kind of an interesting team because they had an early loss to Villanova, who was also a seed in one of the last 8 teams in the FCS playoffs. But like the Grizz, they've also been on a roll, kind of to end the season. I don't quite know what their win streak is, but they've won their remaining games. They had the blowout last week. Montana coming in on a winning streak as well. So ultimately, these two teams kind of red hot right now, and two of the better teams. And this is also kind of a matchup that a lot of people feel like could have been maybe a semifinal matchup or even a national championship matchup. But obviously, with the way the seeds break down, this is going to be a quarterfinal matchup, and on paper looks like it's going to be one of the better ones in the playoff bracket.
And James Madison did defeat the Grizz in the national title game back in 2004. And this game tonight, Kyle, is on ESPN2, second time for the Grizz. It'll be primetime game, 5 o'clock, and of course it's on the road. So I'm curious about what the atmosphere is like and how the Grizz are going to handle that.
Well, I think it's going to be a wild atmosphere. James Madison has a great following for their football program as well. Not quite sure how many Grizz fans are going to be here, though I have had a few Grizz fans reach out to me from the D.C. area who said they will be here for the game. So some fans out here on the East Coast will get a chance to come down and, watch the Grizz play live. And, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Friday night playoff game, we saw how fun it was last week between Montana and Eastern Washington. And I think coming to a place like James Madison where there is a strong football following, this program is also destined for the FBS in the near future. So people care about football here. And I think going up against a team like Montana, where this is the third time these two teams have met. You mentioned the 2004 National Championship game, but also the Grizzlies came here to Harrisonburg in 2008 and beat James Madison in the semifinal game. So really, these two teams only meet when the stakes are really, really high. And so I think that's going to add to a great atmosphere on Friday night.
All right, should be fun. Enjoy Virginia. We look forward to seeing your reports. Have a great weekend and be safe out there in Virginia.